We can pass hundreds of people on the street every day, and some of us share a secret that allows us to lead a normal life. It's not a deep, dark secret, but it is about a very taboo subject, bowels. That was me a year ago, just after I'd been diagnosed with bowel cancer, which had spread to my lungs and liver. I was 61 and enjoying my life with my family and friends, and working as a counsellor and coach. And I managed to make this film for the BBC to highlight the symptoms of colon cancer. A few months ago, I had an operation that I wasn't expecting and that I'd hoped to avoid. I had to have a stoma with a colostomy bag. It was a procedure that I knew nothing about, but that's not surprising really because no one talks about it. My diagnosis is that I needed to find out what it was going to be like living with a stoma and a bag, and I thought if I need it, other people will need it too. So this film is to help people who are about to have an operation and a bag, or who've just had one. There are around 100,000 people of all ages in the UK who live with a stoma. Sarah was a desperately ill teenager when she had hers. Rob got his when he was in his 30s, and Anne was the same age as me, 61, when she got hers. Many people will have suffered from diseases of the bowel, such as cancer and Crohn's disease. These conditions cause symptoms such as diarrhoea, constipation, bleeding and abdominal pain. Kim Lemon works for one of the companies that supply all the latest equipment we might need after the operation. She gives talks and demonstrations around the country showing different groups. There are 3 main kinds of operations to redirect where faeces and urine comes out. The most common is the colostomy, then there's the ileostomy, and the more uncommon, urostomy.
You have a colostomy bag for colostomists, ileostomy for ileostomists, and urostomy pouches for urostomists. But a patient will look at a bag, well, a nurse will help them choose a bag. They'll look at the lifestyle, they might be very active, they're swimming, horse riding, you get, just because you have a stoma, it doesn't stop you from doing things. So you get different sizes of pouches. You have large pouches, standard, and then mini. So if you were swimming, you might put a mini pouch on.
Getting the right fitting bag is crucial, and no one appreciates that better than Sarah Mail. She's 34 and preparing for her wedding, but she had an ileostomy when she was 17 and still at school.
I needed an ileostomy because in November 1992 I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, an inflammatory bowel disease, after having symptoms for several months which I'd ignored. And basically I was told 5 days after I had the surgery that if they hadn't operated on me when they did, I wouldn't have survived because my colon was that diseased when they took it out. And it's just, I think it's made a huge difference to me. I mean, it hasn't stopped me doing anything. I still do everything that a normal young person would do. It was very hard at first. I think it really knocked my confidence in it, but as I started to get better, my friends were really good, and I used to set myself little tasks to do. So I went back to school, then I'd start going out and socialising and just do things bit by bit, really. But I think it took a long time to sort of regain my confidence and feel like I could still do everything that all my friends were doing.
Sarah managed to sit her A-levels at the same time as her friends. She left home to go to university and qualified as a teacher. She's been active in the Ileostomy Association and written lots of articles about her condition. Sarah told Carl, her fiancé, very early in the relationship, and it made no difference to him.
I can see how people may be taken aback by it, but I think if understanding the reasons as to why the person has it, and if they really feel genuine feelings for that person, then I can't see what issues they would have unless perhaps they were slightly superficial. But I think if they had the genuine interests at heart of the person, I can't see them having any problems with it. It's just part of the person.
Well, I can't think of anything that stopped me doing it. I've travelled, I swim, I've been on scariest roller coasters. I've done all sorts of things. I've, flown all around the world. I've never had any problems travelling. I'm lucky with my diet. I can eat most things. I love swimming, and I must admit it was very scary the first time I went. It took a lot of courage to actually go and put a swimming costume on. And then I just really loved it, and nobody ever has once come up to me and gone, "Ooh, what's that?" I used to go 2-3 times a week. I used to do aqua aerobics as well. Sometimes I use a smaller size bag so I can tuck everything in. But I've even worn a bikini on holiday with short bottoms. And I just think it's a confidence thing as well, to sort of think, oh, I can get away and wear all the things that everybody else does.
Rob Errington isn't a swimmer, although he pretty much seems to do everything else. But it wasn't always like that.
Before I had a colostomy bag, I'd spent 3 pretty bad years. I was in pain a lot of time. I had Crohn's disease, and I'd had a number of surgical operations before then, about 10 or 12 over a 3-year period. So I was quite unwell. I was completely incontinent, and I was struggling to live life how I wanted to.
Yes, that does sound pretty grim. It sounds like there might have been times when you really didn't want to go on.
Yeah, I think there were times when, obviously there were good days and bad days, but there were times when I didn't want to go on. There was times when the quality of life I had was so poor that I thought, is this really worth it? Is this really what I want out of life? And it hasn't gone down. From that very bad place, it went to somewhere where I could hold down the job. After a bit of time, I was free of pain. I could eat and drink more of the things I wanted to do, and I could go running, go walking, do all the things that are important to me in life. So for me, having a colostomy has really been a life-changing operation, but for the better. I used to run before I became ill, and then I spent 6 or 7 years where I couldn't run at all. And the fact now I can go out and run 3 miles, 4 miles, it's not huge distances, but it's just pure pleasure. Every step is pleasure. I appreciate every time I put one foot in front of the other. I think this was something I couldn't do, and this is what I can do now, and it's great to be able to do it. I did a long walk across Spain, about 500 miles, walking to Santiago de Compostela. It was over 33 days, so I had to carry lots of things with me, carrying all the normal clothes and things that I would have to carry. But I also had to carry, dozens and dozens of colostomy bags and wipes and things like that. And it was a fantastic experience. It made me feel as if I could do anything that I wanted to, really.
So where did you stay and how did you cope?
I stayed on the walk in hostels that are provided for the people who do the walk for the pilgrims. And sometimes it could be great big dormitories. Sometimes it could be just 3 or 4 people in the room. A couple of places were over 100 people in the same room. So there's not a lot of privacy there. And perhaps only 3 or 4 toilets between 100 people. So it was a challenge. But I think I learned not to be embarrassed. There was communal showers. So you learn not to be ashamed or embarrassed. And that most people didn't notice. Most people didn't bat an eyelid. It was fine.
So you just got on with it?
You just got on with it, yeah.
Yeah.